Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our program tonight. And we are back in session.
Good evening, everyone. We are having technical difficulties here. Markeisha and I are battling technology backstage.
I am the tech
You are the producer.
person.
You are the
What?
producer. This is not supposed to be our intro, but I could not hold my laugh in. This is what it's all about. This is our night. This is our night. I don't care if it's laughing, tears, whatever. This is our night. Good evening, ladies. Just let you do what you're good at. Good evening, everyone. My name is Tanya May. I am your host. Welcome to Mom's Night In. I am joined by my lovely co-host, my producer, Markeisha Green, who I'm trying to do her job tonight. So that's why we're laughing.
Why?
And my wonderful content producer, Shira, we're just ready to see, is also with us. So hello, ladies.
Hello.
Hi. This is going to be a great night. It's already funny now because I'm like, I can't stop laughing. But I was saying, I was telling you backstage, I woke up excited this morning because of our guest. I've known her for a very long time. Every time I talk to her, I have wonderful conversations. And so tonight I'm excited about allowing and listen to our conversation tonight. So she's an amazing woman with amazing testimony. But I wanted to check in with you two first before we get started. How's everything?
Everything's going good for me.
Yeah.
Everything. Yeah. It's a good school year. Yeah. So
good.
far.
That's good to know. Okay.
Yeah. I don't think I'm going to jail or nothing. Yeah. Shira. We know this is a real problem. Like, we know this is a real issue for me.
So much.
Last year, I thought I was going to go to jail. And that dog is barking.
But today was a long day, but thank God it was good.
You made it. And now it's Tuesday night. We're here.
Yes.
All right, ladies. I'm going to stay. We have a full night. I don't want to miss 1 minute of our conversation. So I'm going to say goodbye to you and bring on our guest for tonight.
Okay.
Take care. So I'm saying goodbye to them. And I want to welcome our lovely guest, Mrs. Danielle Carruth, to our show. Hello, Danielle.
Hi, Tanya. How are you?
How are you tonight? Doing well.
Good.
Doing well. So everyone, this is my lovely cousin, Danielle, who I've known for 20 plus years now. So like I said, we've had many conversations over the years, and she has just been such a blessing in my life, and just someone who just provides encouragement. So I am happy to have you finally on the show. I know I told you I wanted to have you for a long time, and we were finally able to get you on the show.
Yes.
So welcome. Why don't you introduce yourself to everyone? Tell us about yourself and your family. Just a little bit of taste before we get into your story.
Okay. So I'm Danielle Carruth. I'm Tanya's cousin, obviously through marriage.
What?
I've been married to my husband, Dwayne, for 20 years. We just celebrated our 20-year wedding anniversary.
My birthday, yes.
November 2nd, yes. We have 3 daughters, Brianna, who's 18, Sarah, who's 13, and Priscilla's 10. So I met my husband when I was studying to be a teacher. I was a student teacher, actually, and I could not stand him. And then we became friends, and then we became more than friends. And so I took about 13 years off of education to take care of our oldest daughter and sort of be there for our family at the time. So I want to say took time off formally, but not informally, because once a teacher, always a teacher.
Yes, always teaching.
Yes.
So thank you. And just say hello to some folks that are joining us. So hello to Carmen May, who always
Hi,
is
Carmen.
with us.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us. I'm sure my mom is with her as well. So hi, Mom. I know you're probably watching with Carmen.
Hi,
Mother
Hazel.
Elaine. Mother Elaine is another faithful guest who's always there and always quick to jump in and say hello. So welcome you again, Mother Elaine. And our guest from last week, Diane, who was such a blessing. Hi, Diane. It's so good to have you back with us. You just did an amazing job, and your story was such a blessing. So thank you once again for joining us and being such a great member of our team. So Danielle, like I said, we have a not long, but a lot to get through, I should say. And we only have 60 minutes, so we got to get through everything.
I'm trying. I'm going to try really hard. Anyone who's watching who knows me knows they're going to have to tell me, shut up.
I need a symbol, like I'll click my ear or something, like, okay, it's time.
Just go like this. Just go.
Go ahead. Bring it down.
Bring it down, Danielle.
Hello, Victoria Balance. Another guest from our caregiving series is back to join us. Thank you once again. Good evening to you as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, so what we do for every Mom's Night In, we do a getting to know you better. So we call it the hot seat, but it's not really hot. It's really a lot of fun. Okay. So we ask you questions, kind of like would you rather questions. So we also ask our audience to play along with us. So these are not hard. Yes, you will. Very easy for you to answer. So they're all around the holidays. Since we're getting ready for Thanksgiving and Christmas, these are all around the holidays. So my first question is to you is, would you rather do formal attire or casual attire for your family holiday photo?
Oh, casual all the way.
Yeah.
I cannot stand getting dressed up.
Really?
Heels are my worst enemy. And I think a hateful man created stockings. I really do.
So you did like an ugly sweater or red and green Christmas?
No, ugly sweater's too much work. No, I'm talking, yoga pants, black.
For your holiday card?
Oh yeah, I don't care. Who cares? I want them to see the real me.
I see casual. Yeah, everyone's saying casual.
Jeans will be nice. Jeans.
I want to dress up. I want to get everybody all dressed up. I want to fuss and yell at people for being late. And no, casual.
Can I say this? I can't stand it so much. I don't even do a holiday photo. There you go.
I haven't done it in years.
We don't even do it. We don't do it.
I just saw Ruth Carruth on. So hello. Thank you so much for joining us. So glad to have you tonight. Okay, my next question. Would you rather spend a day listening to Christmas music or watching Christmas movies?
Christmas music.
Okay, I'm the same way. Decorating decorating the tree and all that, and just having the music going. That puts me in a better mood, I think, than the movies do.
Mm-hmm. I love Christmas music.
Do we think movies or music? What do we prefer?
Who was that?
Yes. Yeah. Who do they agree with? Yes.
They all better agree with me.
Music. I'm saying okay, music and music's from Diane, movies from Stevie. Okay. All right. My next question. Your schedule is very busy. So if you have a day to yourself, would you rather stay in and relax or do outdoor activities? So you have one day to yourself.
One day to myself. Can I relax outdoors?
Sure.
Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit on my porch and I'm just going to watch the trees and listen to the birds.
Just enjoy nature.
That would be
Love
nice.
it. Love it.
Sweet spot.
Love it. I'm seeing relax. Yep. Relaxing is So Carmen says clean. That's how she's staying in clean. That's on her day off.
Mm-hmm.
So stay in and relax. Okay, next is a good one as well. Would you rather take a nap after Thanksgiving dinner or watch an event on TV?
Oh, watch an event. I don't even know what a nap is. I don't know what that is.
Would you prefer a nap if you could get one?
No.
Really? So you don't even need
It'll
one.
mess up my whole rhythm and now I'll be all kind of messed up. And no, I would rather take in an event.
Okay. Yeah. I'm seeing nap. Diane wants a nap. I want a nap too. I'll start off watching something on TV, which will make me fall asleep and take a nap on the sofa. So I'll have the best of both worlds. So Carmen's saying an event, probably the parade or a Thanksgiving special or something. Or a football game, I think, is on Thanksgiving too, right? So that might be
that would be nice. That would be nice.
Okay.
Or a Christmas movie. That's when I would watch the movie. There you go.
After Thanksgiving dinner. Yes. Got it. My last question, and thank you, Shira. These are great questions. So the next question and the last question: would you rather have hot cocoa or hot apple cider?
Ooh, I'm gonna say apple cider.
Okay. I'm gonna disagree with you on that one. I'm gonna say the cocoa with some
I,
whipped cream on top.
I
Yeah,
like the cocoa, but it's the aftermath of the cocoa. It's the whole milk and
it messes you up. Okay. See,
So.
Karma, you're not playing the game right. You cannot just keep picking your own stuff. You gotta choose one or the other. She's saying coffee, cocoa. So I'm seeing cocoa. Okay, Stevie says hot apple cider. All right, so we got a good mix. We got a good mix of folks here tonight. So thank you so much for playing along. I appreciate it. It was. So my next question for you is, what is your favorite scripture and why?
Okay, so we were just talking about this before, back in the whatever you call it, the backstage thing, about how I know the Bible verses, but I don't memorize Bible verses. I get the gist and then just try to apply it, right? So, but my life verse is Philippians chapter 2, verses 1 through 11. But the real nugget of it all would be 3 through 4, which is, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, but in humility consider others better than yourselves. Each of you should look not only to your own interests, but also to the interests of others.
That is
tough.
That is tough. Yeah.
The reason why is because that is my goal. That is what my sweet spot, my comfort zone. And it's also this, like, kind of my pet peeve when somebody is not considerate of somebody else. It just grates at me. And I'm like, how can you not consider this? How can you not consider that?
Consider others
Naturally. And so it really speaks to me, and it inspires me and uplifts me, because I'm like, okay, I'm on the right track. My natural instinct is to align my heart with Jesus. And so that feels really good. So that's my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I see Psalms 121 up here on the screen too. Another favorite.
Psalm 121. Yeah. So when I'm going through stress and strife, would be the whole Psalm 121. But the one part that I really remember the most is, I lift up my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. Yes. And we were joking about that. I had this house built, and I was able to come in on the ground floor when everything was wooden beams. And I wrote that verse where our kitchen sink was going to be. Because I said, there are going to be many nights where I'm going to be standing in this.
You'll be right there.
I'm going to be like this. I'm looking up to you, Lord, for some help over here. Yes.
That's awesome. That is. It's a great scripture. And like you said, even outside enjoying nature. I know at night when I go up and I look at the sky, the stars and the moon, I always think of that, maker of heaven and earth. It's very humbling. It is. When you think about how great he is and he's made all this, it just kind of humbles you. Like, he is absolutely an amazing God. Yes. Absolutely amazing. Thank you. And my last question in this part, before we get to your story, is, do you have a favorite book or a song or activity, something that you used maybe even to help you get through difficult times, even maybe in your story or just in general, that you want to encourage other people with?
So my favorite book, which I did not read during this time, was, I actually have it, was A Shepherd Looks at Psalm 23. Which I absolutely love this book, because it reminds me of my relationship with God. It reminds me of what our supposed relationship should be with God. And a lot of times people think about Psalm 23 as being what's recited when somebody dies, but really it's all about life and how to live out a Christian walk. And so I just love this book, because it goes verse by verse, chapter by chapter, and really helps you to understand the natural metaphors that were used in the Bible for that. So I love that book. The song that really got me through was by Laura Daigle, and it's called Trust in You. It was sent to me when my husband had a stroke from a friend. She sent it via text, and it became my anthem. I literally drove to the hospital every day screaming and hollering this, and it just, and it's still, when I'm having a day, I put this song on. I actually just put it on 2 days ago in the morning on the way to work, And I was just like, all right, Lord, I have to trust in you.
I know I've heard it before, but I'm going to go back and play it now.
Oh,
yes.
the lyrics
that's
are
Lauren Daigle. That's her name.
Yeah, Lauren Daigle. Lauren Daigle,
Yeah.
trust in you. So anybody who's a caretaker, oh my gosh, anybody who's going through anything, who have a mountain that you need moved and it's not moving and you're praying, and yeah, that's the song.
That's what I'm going to play. That's what I'm going to play. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
So this was our getting to know you. So we're going to pray and get right into your story. We are right on track, Danielle. So great job.
I'm doing a good job so far.
A great job. So gracious God and Heavenly Father, once again, we come back to you saying thank you. Thank you for another Tuesday night. Thank you for another Mom's Night In. Thank you for every guest that has joined us so far, and even those that are to come and will watch in the future. We thank you for Danielle, for her family, for her story, God. We just invite you into this conversation, that you would be glorified, Lord. Just bless our discussion, bless our use of technology, that everything would go according to plan, that nothing would be disrupted, and that this message would go out, that we would give you the glory through this next hour in her story. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, so just for everyone, of course, like we say every week, our guest stories are always published the following day on that Wednesday on our website, faithfulmoms.org. So if you have not subscribed, I don't know what you're waiting for. Subscribe so you can get each of these amazing blogs first thing Wednesday morning to set your tone for the day. Usually these conversations are just, we go a little bit deeper, but it's not the full story. So you'll get to be able to read the full story when you get our blog. So if you have not, please sign up and even invite someone. If you know a caregiver, or like Danielle said, someone who's just going through a tough time, still waiting on God to come through, invite them in to come to join us. They don't have to be a mom. It doesn't matter. Whoever it is, male, female, does not matter. Invite them to come in and join us. And I know they will be encouraged by Danielle's story tonight. So Danielle, like I said, you are my cousin, and so you married my cousin Dwayne. So I wanted to ask you to start your story off at the beginning of your story, your love story, as newlyweds. Talk about you and Dwayne first deciding to start your family.
So Dwayne and I were together for 4.5 years before we got married. And he dragged his heels like crazy to ask me to marry him. I knew like a couple months in, but anyway, the same thing happened. Like a couple months in, I was like, all right, where's the ring? I'm ready. And he was like dragging his heels. He had to, all these things he had to work out, I guess. But I knew like right away. So basically we got married. We had, the big wedding and everything. And then about a month goes by. And I'm like, you think you're ready to have kids? I think I'm ready. Are you ready? And he's like, are you ready? And I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. And he's like, all right, let's go ahead. Okay. And so it was kind of like the thing that we did. But in that, I had studied to be a special education teacher. And so you study everything that could possibly go wrong. And so I said, okay, then that means I need to prepare, because I'm a planner and a preparer. So I was eating all the right things. I was making sure I didn't have any wine with meals. I was like, what if I get pregnant? I don't know. And I had a glass of wine. I'll feel horribly guilty for the rest of my life. So I did everything I could to prepare. So that's sort of how we got started with our family.
And so your firstborn, Brianna.
My firstborn, Brianna. So she comes, so we get pregnant about maybe 5 months to 6 months after we start, quote unquote, trying. And all along, I was like, okay, I did everything I'm supposed to do. I'm not eating soft cheeses. I'm staying away from this. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And then Brianna's born. And there was a little bit of a rough pregnancy near the end. And so I had low fluid. They had to induce her. And she came out, and 4 hours old, they rip her from my arms, and she is like choking on her own saliva. And so I was petrified. I was a new mom standing there literally at like 4 a.m, because she was born right before midnight. And I'm exhausted from all the labor and everything. And they're holding her upside down.
Wow.
And I was just like, what is happening? And so when we left the hospital, she was on medication. And so right away there were issues with Brianna. So it was tough. It was tough. Yeah.
And I love when I first read your story, you talked about a poem that someone introduced you to, because you were a special education major, and it's called Welcome to Holland. So I want to tell you, I sent this to so many of our previous guests who could relate, who I felt could relate. I'm just literally sending it out. Have you read this? Have you read this? Have you read this? So
it's amazing.
Yeah, I'm sure they. So, but just share a high level about the poem and what it personally meant to you.
Well, like I said, when you're going to college for special education to be a teacher, the handicap, you come across things like this. So we get this poem, and the gist of the poem is that this woman is planning for a trip to Italy. So she gets her whole itinerary, she packs everything, she's planning for this trip to Italy. The plane lands, and the flight attendant says, "Welcome to Holland," and you can't leave. And so she's like, "What? What do you mean? I didn't plan for this. I didn't plan for that." But then by the end of the poem, she recognizes that there's beauty in Holland. Yeah. That Holland has tulips, and Holland has this, and Holland has windmills, and so she just needed to change her perspective. And so when I was in college, I had read that, and it connected with me because I'm a planner. Italy, it would be the only place that I would ever. Someone said, "Could you go anywhere in the world that you would want to go?" It would be Italy. That'd be my dream vacation. And so it really just spoke to me, and I thought, I get that. I get what that would feel like if I planned for this whole thing and then I'm stuck someplace else. And I didn't know that was going to be me. I was going to be that mom. I was going to be the one who was in Holland.
Yeah. And
so that was, so that poem, when I was going through it, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm in Holland. It came to fruition. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's powerful for moms, and she was saying it had her in tears. And I think regardless of, it could be applicable to so many different situations. Like, even I'm thinking, like you said, you're planners. And when something doesn't go according to plan, we kind of tend to get unraveled. And there are different variations. I mean, different levels, obviously, but so many times we can get unraveled, and we can get worried and fearful. And I think that this is such a great concept of, it may not be what you planned, but it may not be what you wanted, but it's where God has you, and see the beauty and the joy in wherever it is that he has you, whatever it is that he has for your path. Look for the flowers on your path. Look for whatever it is on your path, even though that path over there may be so much more beautiful, it looks so much more fun, or whatever it is,
and have yummy food like Italy. Like, no,
this is my path, and I have to find the joy, and really the joy in the journey of my path.
We get tripped up when sometimes people say, "Oh, don't compare yourself to others." I don't often compare myself to others. I mean, sometimes I do. I'm human.
Yeah,
but when I compare myself where I'm at to what I planned, that's what really trips me up, because that was mine. It was personal to me. This was my plan, and now this is a different plan. This is a different dream. Yeah. And so so that poem it's touching. It's touching.
And so with that, so you're raising Brianna and I would say enjoying, but yes, finding joy as you can in Holland, and kind of through her, and then having two more daughters, having Sarah.
Yes.
And
Priscilla.
Her name just slipped me, Priscilla.
It's okay. It's okay.
I was going to say P3. So,
well, you know why? Because we call her 3P.
Yeah.
3P is her nickname. Although she tells everybody, I retired 3P.
She doesn't use it anymore.
I retired 3P.
Miss Priscilla. Okay, we Priscilla. Got you.
So so we had two other daughters. That even just having that situation was, a decision. The gap between Brianna and Sarah's 5 years. Originally I was waiting on God to heal. Going great and saying 3P. I was waiting on God to heal Brianna. I was waiting on answered prayer before I moved on. And then finally a friend of mine, a believer, she said, if nothing ever changed with Brianna, would you not want her to have a sibling? And I said, no. And she said, then what are you waiting for?
Wow.
And I was just like, okay. So then we actually were going to try, and then my back went out and I didn't try. And then next thing I know, after the back surgery and everything, we get pregnant again. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is all part of God's plan. And then even with Priscilla, when she came along, that was totally a fluky kind of situation. And here she was. And I was just like, it's always God, it's never me. I laugh all the time, and I make these plans, and then God's like,
you
are not in control, honey. You're not in control. Stop trying to control this. And I'm like, okay.
Wow. That's true. Your life, he's showing you, like, can you just let me be in charge. And it's hard. You know, I know you're like me. It's hard to be like, but my plan is so good, God. Why can't you just get with my plan? It's so good.
I know.
What's wrong with what I'm planning?
I know. I have to put images around myself, like the one with the teddy bear, where they have the illustration of Jesus with the bigger teddy bear. You know, just trust me.
Yeah.
It's like, but this one's hard. I'm happy with my teddy bear.
It is hard, but it is a daily walk. It is. For me, it's a daily practice to just kind of release and just trust. I'm like, okay, God, you know, I'll give it up and I'll trust you. So with that, so the girls are here, and so years later, we're gonna get into even how your story started for the blog. Your husband had a stroke. Dwayne had a stroke. You mentioned it earlier. So I wanted to talk in your blog. You start off with being comforted in the hospital hallway, but I wanted to ask you, because I think your story is fascinating, just about the signs that you saw initially. So talk about your initial observations of something might be being wrong, all the way to him being in the hospital.
Okay, so I had just gone back to work, and so I had been home all that time taking care of Brianna, Sarah, and Priscilla. And Priscilla was now in kindergarten, and so it was like, okay, I'm going to go back to work part-time. And I was only at work for about a month and a half. So school starts in September. It's now October 17th. I come home from work, and I see Dwayne's face, and it's like kind of like slid in on one side, like a little crooked on one side. And I said, are you okay? And I said, did you go to the dentist today? And he said, no. And I said, he's like, what's wrong? And I said, something's wrong with your face. And I kept looking at them, and the girls were getting settled. I just picked them up from school, and they're getting their snacks and, you know, doing all the after school things that you do. And I just kept looking at them thinking, something's wrong with him. And so finally I said, he looks like Nana, right? Who battled strokes. And I thought he looks too much like Nana. So I said, come downstairs with me. I didn't want to alarm the girls. So I came downstairs, and I did neuro checks, because I knew stroke from his mom and from Nana. And so he checked out fine. And I was like, he's squeezing my hands equally. He's stepping on my feet fine. And his face was going in and out of crooked, but I knew something was off. And so then I was asking the girls, and they're like, yeah, Daddy, your face is crooked. And he's looking in the mirror, and he's coming out of the bathroom. He goes, I don't see what you're talking about. So he, at this point in time, was taking a night class for tax preparation. He wanted to learn how to prepare taxes. And so he starts to prepare to leave to go to this class. And I'm like, I don't think you should go. I think I want to keep an eye on you. So I'm Googling, and things are coming up, Bell's palsy and all this kind of, and I said, my gut was, don't go. But you know, your cousin, he's going, right? He's doing, nothing I say is going to matter. This is what Dwayne wanted to do. This is what he was going to do. And so he left. And when I stood at the door to watch him leave, so it was an evening class, and I stood at the door to watch him leave, there was a certain way that he would reverse out. We had a Honda CRV, and the driveway like curves. And so it has a certain sound and a certain way. And when I watched him do it, I thought, something's really wrong. And so, to the point where I didn't want to text or call him, because I thought, if something is wrong, I don't want to be a distraction. And so then he texts me at like 7 now. Now it's about 7 o'clock. So a couple hours have gone by between my first sight on him around 4-ish to now 7 o'clock. I get a text from him. I'm fine. I made it to class fine. But the whole night I couldn't settle. My stomach, I just felt it in my bones. Something is wrong. So I fed the kids. I couldn't eat. I could not eat. I said, I got to get these kids to sleep. I got to get them to sleep. Then I can focus on me. I can focus on why I'm feeling this way. And I can wait for him to come home and be like, oh, it's fine. I don't know what was going on. And my phone rings. And it's the instructor. So I missed the call, and then I run downstairs to get my phone. And I call back immediately, and she says, you know, Danielle, this is Rose. I have his name is Joseph Dwayne Carruth, so people in business call him Joe. So I have Joe here. I think he needs to go to the ER. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And so I said, my babies, my kids are upstairs, and, you know, and I was freaking out. And she said, where do you live? I'll take him. And so I'm like, oh my gosh. And so she takes him. We meet up at the hospital. I bring the kids. And she proceeds to later tell me that she noticed that he was getting answers wrong and he never did. And so she was looking over his shoulder on his computer work. And then she asked him to stay after because of that. She wanted to know what was going on. And she noticed his walk. His gait was like off. And so she had apparently medical history background. And so she worked in the medical field before and knew. She said something's wrong. So she was the initial person at the hospital with him. And then I got there. So here I'm there at the hospital and he's going in and out. His face is normal, then it's not normal. He's passing neuro checks. The doctors are like, oh, it's just maybe a Bell's palsy or maybe it's just a warning sign. She had fought for him to have a stroke workup because she knew the language to say, I saw this, I saw that, I saw this. So they did it. And then they wheeled this doctor in on a robot. And I'm talking to this doctor and he's like, oh, I'm not sure if he had a stroke, what have you. And so anyway, I'm looking at his feet now and I see these socks that he's wearing. And there's no way he would have worn these socks with what he was wearing.
His outfit.
And I knew this. And you only know that when you're with somebody for so long, when we had the relationship that we had. And so I start telling the doctor, do you see these socks?
And they're probably like, ma'am.
I'm like, he would not wear these socks. And I'm like freaking out, fighting for him. And so flash forward each day I would go back. They admitted him. And each day I would go back, he was worse. He originally could do things. Now his arm was slower, missing the nose. And he was weaker to stand. And the conversations I was having with him didn't make sense. So I kept fighting and telling the nurses, you need to get him checked again. There's something wrong. And they kept kind of, oh, it's okay, little wifey, it's just a stroke settling in. He's fine. And I just kept fighting. And I said, no. So then one day I come in and there's hockey on the television. And I said, he never watches hockey. I've been with this man for, at this point, we were almost 15 years married. I said, he will go out of his way to watch anything but hockey. And I said, that's it. Something's wrong. So I fought. They finally checked him again. So now it's Friday morning. So here we go, Tuesday night to Friday morning. He's still in the hospital locally. And I go in and a doctor says, we're going to transfer him. There's something wrong. He needs to go to the neuroscience center in Atlantic City Division. And I said, okay, when's that going to happen? And he flips out, now. And EMTs are coming and they rush him by ambulance.
Wow.
So I'm freaking out. One of my friends who's actually, I saw her on the call, she was on the phone with me. She was like, you can't drive like this. I was bawling, screaming, that's my husband, as the ambulance is pulling away. It was horrible. I get to Atlantic City and they put me in this little waiting room. And I think he died. He died on the way here.
Wow.
Because why am I here alone in this room? Why am I sitting here waiting? I was just like, they put me in this room and I'm just waiting. Am I waiting for somebody to come and tell me that I lost my husband? And so I just kept thinking, Jesus. I could say nothing else. I literally could not talk. Me, a talker, I couldn't talk. I just kept saying, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. So finally somebody comes to get me and says, we couldn't bring you in. There was a gunshot victim or whatever, and they were in the back where your husband was. And I'm like, we're going to bring you back to see him. And I was like, oh my gosh, right? Like,
so in your mind, you thought he was already gone. Like you're preparing yourself.
And I was preparing myself. And so then I go back there and then they finally eventually admit him to the ICU. And I should have been prepared. We're running a little behind here. But basically, I get upstairs and now he's in the ICU and he can't move now at this point, his entire right side of his body. So between Tuesday and now, he can't move anything. And so they proceed to show me what's happening. And they said he was stroking still.
The whole time.
And that it was not a typical stroke and that his brain was basically shutting down. And I was looking at the screen and I said to her, I said, can this kill him? And she grabbed me by the elbow and she said, we're holding out hope. you lose it, then my hand, I could still feel my hands slide down my jeans in the hallway. And I'm just standing there in the hallway thinking, I'm about to be a widow with 3 kids and I'm out of control. There's nothing I can do about it, but I could pray.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did.
Yeah.
So there we were.
Sorry. So no, it's fine. It's fine. So I'm trying to adjust to make sure that we still get through your story.
Yeah.
So he's in the hospital for how long? How long was he in the hospital before he returned home?
He went to the emergency room October 17th. He came home from the hospital December 20th. Oh. So it was a long time. Yeah, between hospitals and rehab.
And him coming home is a new normal for you and for your family. So I wanted to spend a little bit of time, because I know in your story you talked about the impact that, again, a mom with 3 young children and husband is, having a stroke and having to care for him. Talk about, and you're not living near relatives. Not really.
No relatives. The nearest person would be his father, and new wife, Mom Freedy, and my sister, which my sister was about 2 hours away, and his father was about an hour away.
Right.
My parents were an hour away, and life goes on. People can come and they helped, and people helped, but life has to go on. People have their own doctor appointments. People have their own things that they have to do, and you have to live this new normal, but you're still in an acute crisis stage each step of the way, So
with that new normal, I wanted you to spend a bit of time. We had I think a very interesting discussion that I hope we can share with our guests, talking about grieving what was for what is. Even though Dwayne is still here, there was still a grief that you had to go through of the man that you married and the man that had been with you all those years. He's different now. So talk about
I'll tell. Yeah, you know what? This is something we wanted to discuss, and it kind of ties into it. Was the stairs, right? The stairs in our house. So I designed the house, and they're schoolhouse stairs. So you go upstairs, 2 landings, and then up again. They're daunting when you're tired, and each night I walk those stairs. Now, the Dwayne before would fall asleep on the couch, and somewhere around midnight, and I got done cleaning the kitchen and doing everything, I would come over and go, "Come on, babe, it's time to go to bed." And so then we would groggily walk up the stairs together. When he was in the hospital, that was tough physically, because some nights I wasn't going to sleep until 4 a.m. And I had to get up at 6, and it was hard, but I knew I had to walk those stairs alone. I was with God. Obviously, he carried me up those stairs, but I had to physically do that alone, because it was walking. I knew innately it was walking each step toward acceptance of a new normal.
Wow.
It was each step was, this is never going to be the same. We are not going to be the same. This is not going to be the same. This process is not going to be the same. And that is how it is. That's the grieving. It was part of my grieving from the very beginning. I knew I had to keep stepping
forward. The steps is almost like I
had to keep moving forward. I had to keep moving forward to accept whatever this new normal was going to be. Was it going to be at the end that I got that call? Or was it going to be that he was going to come home and be different? Because he already was different. That 2 months, I was there all the time. I was chronically at the hospital and seeing this new person, and he would do things and say things that I would look at him and go, "You wouldn't say that, honey." And he would say to me, like, "Why are you looking at me like that?" And I would say, "That's not something you would normally do." And so we had to learn anew who he was. And I tell everybody this, and it's really kind of sad, but when you are grieving somebody who's still here, it's like a ghost of them follows you around. And so he's physically here, but he's not here the way he was. He's not who I fell in love with. He doesn't laugh the same. He doesn't talk the same. There are times I tell everyone there's like these lightning bolt moments when I hear who he was and I see who he was, or he says something and I'm like, there he is. There he is. There's my babe.
still there.
And then it's gone. And it's like, oh, okay. And so to grieve that it's so difficult. There's no end. There's no end. And with Dwayne, he his condition has him different every day, and in moments without getting into medical, it's just very complicated. And so who he is not even the same from one day to the next. And so I'm grieving a loss of a relationship and a husband every day. Every day.
And I wanted to just go back a bit. You talked about, we said where you're living, there's no family there, but you still obviously needed support. So I wanted to just really highlight the role that your community played in just supporting you and your family during that time.
Well, I do have to give some shout outs to my family, even you. Everybody did come to visit. They came to rehab, and my father-in-law would come and help, be here. And my mom did, and my dad did, and my sister did. I remember one time my sister, after a long day at the hospital, I came home and she had candles lit for me, and she had done all my dishes. So family did support, but they weren't close by, and you often don't know what you need until you are literally in the middle of needing it.
In the midst
of it. So you don't recognize that you don't have dinner until it's 5 and everybody's hungry. And you're supposed to already have been at the hospital, and you're like, what do I do? I can't keep buying takeout. I can't keep doing, what do I do? How do you function? And so a cousin of mine once had said, why don't you I said, people keep asking, I was mad. And I said, people keep asking me, can they bring me dinner? I said, I don't have time to schedule people arriving to my house. I said, it's very sweet, but it's not helpful. And she said, why don't you just put bags out on the front, like insulated bags? And I said, brilliant. So I text all my work friends, kept saying, what can we do to help you? What can we do to help you? And so I shot a text and I said to my boss, I said, this is how you can help me. I need meals for like the next couple weeks. And within minutes, literally minutes, my phone was, I've got Tuesday, I've got Monday, I've got this day, I've got this day. And I would put these bags on the porch and food would just show up every night. We would come, I would pick the kids up from school. They would run around to the front porch to see what we were having for dinner that night.
It's exciting for them, right? Something new.
Yeah.
And there's websites that do it now. There's websites that coordinate. I think Take Them a Meals one, but there's other websites that people can coordinate. So if you do know someone, for our audience, you do know someone who can use help, you can coordinate on the websites and schedule family and friends to deliver food. I know a neighbor of ours did that. We were dropping off food and they had a heater, like a heating bag. If you brought hot food, you could put it in there, and a cooler. They left it on their porch. So each night, whoever delivered, you could put it, whether it was hot or you needed the cold, and you could leave it in their porch until.
That's exactly what we did, Tanya. I literally had 2 insulated bags. I put a little note. This one's for the cold, and I do little snowflakes, and this one's for the hot or whatever, and had it like that. Also, I had developed these very interesting relationships with people at my children's school. So I would get in conversations. I'm a talker. And so one time the music teacher says, hey, how's your leaves? Because around here, we have a tremendous amount of trees. And so cleaning your leaves is part of the culture. And so he said, how's your leaves? And I said, I just looked at him like he was crazy. And he said, I'm going to come and help you with your leaves. So then one day, here comes the principal of the school and the music teacher, and they were blowing leaves off of my yard, and then the principal mowed the lawn. And then I one day was in the school and I said, listen, the battery is always needing a jump in the car. And I said, and I keep having to jump it. And I was like sad about it because I was like, he knew this was supposed to, he kept trying to preserve this battery. And then they hooked it up, ordered the battery, came, put it in. They did that. I've had flat tires during all this. Principal drove me back to my house. Then my work. So my work in the middle of all this, my work friends, the same ones bringing meals. They would pick the kids up sometimes from the hospital, take them on a little excursion. The list for parent pickup for my children was like an addendum.
Wow, yeah, of course.
Because I never knew what the circumstance was going to be. I always dreaded the call that was going to pull me to the hospital when I needed to be at the school.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what do I do? So the list was so long. One time I guess it was around November, my boss sends me a text and she says, "We want to take care of Christmas for you. Tell us what you need. Do you need a tree? Do you need presents? Send me a list. I want 6." And she was like, "Send me a list. I want 6 gifts, each girl, sizes, this, that. Tell us likes, dislikes." And weeks later, I pick up an amazing Christmas. They wrapped everything the way I need. I said, this is a disclaimer, so if anybody has children, put them away. Don't listen yet. We do Santa, and I said my husband's tradition was they had Santa wrapping paper around Santa gifts. And so I said, "You can't wrap the gifts for me because we do Santa." She goes, "Done. They all wrapped all the presents. They collected mommy gift cards. The kids' school collected gift cards, and I went and picked up Christmas. And when I mean, we bought some things ourselves. Like I bought things and wrapped them from my husband and me and did like we normally would. It was the last Christmas that my mom was with us. And I remember her sitting next to me and she kept looking at each gift that was unwrapped. And she would go, "Danielle." And I would go, "I know." And she would go, "Danielle." And I would go, "I know." They were the most beautiful presents. And it was a true Christmas morning. I didn't know.
So you actually got to enjoy Christmas.
I got
you
to
got to enjoy it.
Yeah. So he was home. He came home on the 20th. That was my prayer. My focus was getting him under that tree. I said, "What do you want for Christmas?" "Daddy under the tree." That's what we want. We want daddy under that tree. We want daddy home. We'd already done Thanksgiving with him away. I did the full Thanksgiving, brought it to Back Rack Rehab Center. And I did not want to do Christmas that way. And I was like, "God, bring him home, bring him home." And he did. And they brought Christmas. And so still, even to this day, the music teacher when my kids have concerts, "Hey, you need seating for your husband? I'll get the back door open." And no one else, not even the principals have markers. I have Carruth family tags.
Get your own place set. Yes.
On these chairs. The Carruth family is coming. And it's just, I mean, literally, we were just at a music concert and the superintendent of schools saw me putting a wheelchair in the van and she goes, "You want me to help you with that?" And I was just like, this is it's amazing. It's God. There's nobody else. You can't look at people doing the things that they do and say that there's not a God because it's showing up each and every time. Each and every time.
And I love what I saw. Marquise, if you could put it back up, it said your village is a blueprint for caring for the caregiver. And I was thinking about that as you were talking. It would just take one of us, if we saw someone in need, to coordinate those around us, whether it's our school, whether it's our church, our friends, whatever. But if we could take the onus to be that person to just gather, because I think people naturally have giving hearts, but it takes one person to say, "Come on, let's take care of this family." If we know that we have caregivers, especially as we go into the holiday season, I do hope that we were very strategic about having this for November because we wanted to do something special for caregivers and to encourage them going into the holiday season. So I do hope people that are watching, whether it's again now or in the future, if you do know of caregivers, just try to think of something that you can do as we go into the holiday season.
Specific. That's one of the things people often, and it's, I don't want this to sound ungrateful. I'm not being ungrateful. What I'm saying is be very specific. Say, "When can I bring you a meal?"
Not "Can I bring you a meal," right?
Not well, if you need anything, give me a call.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, I'm the helper, I'm the giver, I'm the servant. I'm not calling you to say I needed dinner 30 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Even though I did. I'm not doing that. I'm gutting it out. I'm figuring it out myself. I'm not going to burden somebody else. I need to feel comforted to know that my burden is not now your burden.
Yeah.
And so that's what I think people need to understand is when you're trying to help a caregiver or help anybody who's going through crisis, be very specific. Say, I know your address. What's your address? I'm sending you a gift card.
Yes. You have to eat. You know you have to clean the home.
Yes.
Like we've talked about that. We talked about it from our cancer. I think even from our congenital conditions and caregivers, most of our moms are saying, "I don't ask for help. I don't like asking for help. I need it,
I need it.
But I don't like asking for it.
You don't know what it is. I mean, and that's what I was saying by the leaves being the culture, right? So that music teacher didn't say to me, "Oh, anything you need, let me know because I know your husband's in the hospital." He knew that I had a ton of trees around my house and he knew that I needed those leaves taken care of.
Yeah.
And
So you
so
saw a need and just took
he
care
saw
of
a
it.
need.
Yeah.
He even said, because we have an artificial tree, so work didn't provide the tree. I said, I have a tree, but he said, do you need somebody to put your tree up? And I said, because it's in like these huge parts, right? And I got to get it from the basement up. And I said, that would be so great. He said, I'll be there Saturday morning, 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, whatever it was. And came and put the tree, like little things. My neighbor, we just had humongous amounts of snow. And I'm out there like trying to get this snow out. And my neighbor one night was literally out there with a spotlight plowing my driveway for me out. You know, now he can't do it all the time. And you never know, but when he does, man,
what
is
a
that a
blessing.
blessing.
What a blessing. Just those small things. Danielle, I knew this was going to be great. Thank you. Thank you for just sharing your heart, sharing your story. I do have one question in closing that I kind of wanted to take from your blog as well. I want you to expand upon it. It was so poignant, I thought. You talked about what is God trying to teach us through caregiving? So I want you to, if you don't mind, just kind of having closing remarks to our audience and especially the caregivers, and just to encourage them about how caregiving relates to relationships that we have for those that we're caring for.
What I gleaned and learned from all of this is the importance of relationships. That you know, so much of our life is focused on, you know, do this or do that, meet this goal, meet that goal. What are our accomplishments? How many degrees do I have? How much money do I have? How many cars? What, you know, do I have a new sofa? Do I have, and that, none of that. And we know that, right? We as Bible readers, we know, you know, not to store up your treasures on earth, store up your treasures in heaven. But really, when you chisel it all down, it's about relationships. And God puts, everybody's a caregiver. Everybody's a caregiver. It's just a different level.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
It's just a different level of caregiving. None of that is important. All the other things. I wrote myself a little note here. That we are all here to take care of each other. We're all here. That's what it's all about.
That's it.
It's what it's all about. And for me and myself, I have to say to myself, when I get ready to do anything and I consult God, you know, God, do you want me to do this? Do you want me to go to the grocery store today? Or do you want me to go to the grocery store tomorrow? You know, am I going to get an accident if I go today? Because it's my plan. What's going to happen? And I literally just use this litmus test. I say to myself, if what I'm getting ready to do has an impact on getting closer together or getting this person closer to God, then I'm doing the right thing. That's sort of the litmus test. You know, am I making that phone call or am I not? And sometimes that means pulling back. Sometimes that means letting go so that somebody can mature. Like when my daughter's situation, you know, I have to let her be. I have to allow her to grow. So it doesn't always mean so much in somebody's face. It's giving what somebody really needs. And I think that that's really what life is about, is coming in contact with people and developing relationships in any kind of level.
I love that. For me now, as I take on certain activities, I'm going to ask myself, is this a treasure on earth or is it a treasure in heaven?
Yeah.
I love that. It
really is. It helps. It helps. Sometimes as even like as a mother, like when I fret about the kitchen floor being swept, right? Not cleaned, it's filthy, but I can sweep it, right? Or I try to challenge my husband to sweep it every night. I'm the baby gonna sweep the floor tonight, you know, because it takes him forever and he hates that I ask. But so I sometimes get upset about it, and I think, is it because you're being OCD and you don't want dirt on the floor? And I go, no, it's because I don't want my children to wake up in the morning and walk on that. And so that's me caring for my children. And so, but like even down to those little minute details, is it okay for those dishes to be in the sink, or is that going to hinder my relationship because I'm going to be stressed and now flipping out on somebody because there's dishes in the sink? So each little nugget, just say, is this bringing me closer together? Is this bringing us closer to God? And using that to guide your steps.
So much wisdom. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
I told you this morning, I woke up excited and I knew this is going to be just an amazing conversation. So thank you. Markeisha, if you don't mind, I've seen a lot of wonderful comments. Could we just start putting some of the comments up that people were sharing with Danielle? So Carmen said, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Do you have any others? I know I saw some more up there. Yes, Tamika said, thank you for sharing. I know I saw some from Dawn too. Yeah, Dawn. Yeah, thank you for sharing your heart as well.
Love you, Dawn.
All the thank yous. I mean, you've just been amazing. Like I said, I think so many of us resonated with so many of the truths. Again, we're all caregivers. And again, I know this is called Moms Like In, but it's not just for moms, but all of us are caring in some sort of way or another. But if anyone does have a question for Danielle, we do have a few minutes. So we did do good on time, Danielle.
I did good. I did it. You know what? It's because we didn't talk about my dad. We didn't talk about everything else. That's a whole other story. Another time.
Yes. And still it's in the blog as well. We do have, again, we always say we can't say everything in that 1 hour, but we definitely wanted to make sure that we got just those nuggets to just be able to bless and deposit.
Love you, Alexa.
Yes. Thank you for joining. And Anne, one of our guests that comes back each week. We thank you as well. Kennedy. Hi, Kennedy. Judy is my new friend. Her daughter and my daughter play volleyball together. So she said she caught the end and was so inspired. Thank you for sharing your journey with us.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Mother Elaine, I think I saw that as well. So thank you. Is there any questions, Markeisha? Did anybody come through with any questions? If not, I'll go ahead and close us out for this evening. So our cousin Andre, yes.
I'm so proud of myself. You don't even know.
Andre, we call him AJ. We love when we call him AJ. I praise God for your strength through it all, Danielle.
Yes, he did.
So
yes, that is Joseph Carruth.
Joseph Carruth did work through the Camden School District. That is him. Yes. All the comments. So thank you. There's more coming, Paige. Yes, you are so cherished and so appreciated. Thank you for sharing your beautiful heart and journey. God is working through you in amazing ways, my friend.
Paige is one of my coworkers.
Yes. And I saw Melissa.
Yes. And Melissa. Yes. Some of my coworker peeps are here. Love them so much.
So Melissa said, always other words to share from God with all of us. Yes. Thank you. Thank you all for sharing. I just appreciate you and for encouraging Danielle. Danielle, once again, thank you for just being so transparent, just sharing all just the wisdom that you have gained. And I just, obviously, I wish you well on your journey in Amsterdam.
Holland, yeah. In Holland, yes. My journey in Holland. All my tulips. Nobody knows that every once in a while I have to yank them out.
Yes. And we love tulips. So thank you once again for joining us. Next week, we are back still in our caregiving series. We will be interviewing Benita Bell, who shares of caring for her father and her sister as well. She has another powerful story. Just every story has different messages, and even her message, I was just so encouraged just talking to her and kind of just getting prepared for her discussion. So come back next week. It's going to be another amazing story. But Danielle, my love to you, my love to Dwayne, and to the girls. Thank you once again. Good night, everyone. Until next week, we hope to see you back. God bless.
Good night, everyone.